Thank you very much for joining me on this Saturday. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. I know a lot of focus has been down here, and I'm watching this spot south of Jamaica, but I'm watching this in particular. I do believe this may spin up into something more tropical. Plus, we're going to see some heavier rain. We'll eventually get some Trinidad and Tobago looking off to the east, but we've been dealing with a lot near Puerto Rico, but especially the Virgin Islands, British and parts of the U.S. Virgin Islands overnight. Back through Anguilla, Antigua, Barbuda, we're going to see some rain picking up, Montserrat, Ceiba, St. Kitts and Nevis, so we're going to see areas of flooding. Now, this is what I'm watching. Again, I know the National Hurricane Center has this area highlighted. I do believe they should highlight this area as well up here, because all this moisture is going to just kind of spin around the Virgin Islands and near Puerto Rico, and there may be a brief spin up here that gets thrown back toward the Bahamas or Turks and Caicos. So that's one spot I'm watching for a quick spin up. And of course, keeping an eye on the southern Caribbean as well. You can see not a lot of moisture here, though. Here's Jamaica, Cayman Islands. You get back through Mexico, the Yucatan, Belize. Now, Guatemala, El Salvador, watching what's trying to build offshore with that developing tropical system. So I want to get into that as well. Plenty to cover. I want to show you the European model and the American models. We try to find some of the next development. This is what's left of Tammy moving away from Bermuda, so some good news there, but this is the next system building near Guatemala and El Salvador, and it may get stuck. That means we're going to see a landslide, mudslide situation for sure near Guatemala, in particular, southern Mexico, watching El Salvador. I want to show you the computer model on that in a moment. Now, let's get to this. Here's the European model. This is the spot I'm watching, just north of Puerto Rico. All this moisture could spin up into that brief tropical storm. This is the area the National Hurricane Center has been watching, and then this out here, the developing system in the eastern Pacific. So we have three spots here. And there's Tammy, what's left of Tammy. It did redevelop. We were talking about that yesterday morning. It did spin up, fortunately getting caught into a front and finally starting to move away from Bermuda. All right, let me take you out in time here. This is by the time we get into tomorrow midday. You can see here, look at this little area of low pressure developing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. This could spin up even into a subtropical or tropical storm, kind of work its way toward the Bahamas. And then this over here, this is what I'm going to break down for you in the American model in a second. And look at the surge of moisture here. I mentioned Trinidad and Tobago over toward Grenada, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Rain chance will pick up. With this spin up here, that just helps draw in more moisture. And I think about 3 or 4 days ago, I was talking about that, highlighting the moisture here, how it would kind of feed up from the south. That's exactly what we're seeing outside, what we had yesterday, last night, and this morning. So this spin here, watching this feeding in more moisture, eventually Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, a higher rain chance. This is on Monday, and then this is the area that's going to lift up near Jamaica. So watching that, but here's a front back to the west. Okay, so the fronts kind of help steer these things this time of year. So again, watching that spot right there, you see near Jamaica, I've got a close eye on you back through Cuba to see if that brief spin up does want to happen. Now this is by the time we get into Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. So keeping an eye on this spot. Here's Jamaica, Cuba, and then here's that potential spin up that would get thrown back toward the Bahamas. But this front may actually start to move it away, and look at that. That system getting stronger and stronger in the eastern Pacific. And again, we're thinking of our friends that were having to deal with Otis and dealing with that devastation. Watching this area here, I want to get into that more in a moment. But these are the areas I'll be watching, seeing how the front impacts it as we go throughout the week ahead. So several areas. It's not just that one in the southern Caribbean. It's this area here, and you can see why. Look at the rain. This is the American model, also picking up on that. Now, where you see the greens, that's some good old-fashioned rain, but you see these reds and yellows, that's some really heavy rain that's around. Now, look at Dominica, Guadeloupe, Martinique, down through Trinidad and Tobago. See how that rain chance picks up? If this spin develops, that's just going to draw in more rain back through Puerto Rico, British, U.S. Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Antigua, and Barbuda. So all on track with that. Watching this area over here, which I'll zoom down to in a second. Now, as we go out in time, this is as we get into Monday, we could see that spin develop, but still that surge of moisture in particular in the Eastern Caribbean. Now, the American model is very similar to the European, not showing any big spin up near Jamaica, but that is still a potential. I'll show you why in a moment. You see here as we go out in time, this is by the time we get into Tuesday. Here's a front coming in. I'll show you that. Look at that rain over toward El Salvador and Guatemala. But then you see here, again, we could have that spin there. There's a lot of moisture right in here. Haiti, Dominican Republic, near Jamaica, Puerto Rico. And again, yeah, that could eventually try to develop. So a few areas we're watching. Again, close to home development, could see a quick tropical storm try to develop and spin up within a matter of really 24 hours. Monitoring all of this through next week. But either way, regardless if something gets a name or not, we're going to have some big areas of flooding, the mudslides in some spots. Maybe one island we're dry, but the other island we are just getting a deluge of rain, and that's what we had last night through parts of the Virgin Islands. Now, here is why we could see that quick spin up. Even near Jamaica, those water temperatures about 85, 86, 87 degrees Fahrenheit, 30, 31 degrees Celsius. You see it right through here. But not only is the water very warm, it's the depth of the warm water. This shows, put it this way, this red shading here, that's bad news. That shows that it is warm all the way down, not all the way down, but very, very deep. So that's called heat content. Tropical systems really feed off of that. That's why Otis got so strong back in the Eastern Pacific. It ran into an area of high heat content, very warm water that went way down deep. And again, the models don't do a good job handling that. Now, as far as the rain goes, look at this surge of rain. Some of this kind of black gray shading showing up. That would be about 6 inches of rain or 150 millimeters of rain. That's why we had the flood watches, warnings in many spots. St. Martin, St. Bart's, U.S. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, St. Kitts and Nevis. Really heavy rain at times leading to high totals. That flood threat very high. Now, as we get down here, Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, more in the way of picking up 25 millimeters to an inch of rain over the next day or so. But that rain back to the, look at that, back to the east. Again, as the system tries to develop up to the north, that will help to feed it in. So Trinidad and Tobago, for example, giving it the heads up. Barbados, we got hit hard a couple days ago with some rain. So I'll be monitoring that. Now, Tammy, again, moving away. The next name on the list is Vince. Whitney after that. If we get through Vince and Whitney this year, we go to a secondary list. Adria and Braylon would be the next names on the list. So that's kind of how they do it now. There's not the Greek alphabet. It goes to a different list. Now look at this. Here's Acapulco. Again, that had the devastating Category 5 hurricane a few days ago. Otis, of course, rolling in. And we are thinking of them. So I'm watching this closely because, again, weird steering conditions with this. It's hard to tell if it'll just move in or just kind of hang around. This is by the time we get into Monday afternoon. But either way, all eyes on Guatemala, El Salvador, southern coast of Mexico. We're going to see the mudslide potential. This will get stronger and stronger. Now, the American model has this kind of start to work in. There's going to be a front here, and that kind of draws it toward Guatemala and El Salvador by the time we get into Tuesday. May or may not make landfall, just could kind of sit offshore. So kind of a wait and see on that. But again, I talked about it yesterday. I expect really high rain totals. Guatemala, El Salvador, prepping for that. High river rises. Those river crossings will become very dangerous. The next name on the list, we just had Otis, of course. Pilar, that's the next name on the list. Ramon after that. Selma and Todd as we get down the list on the eastern Pacific side. They have a different set of names. Now, Puerto Rico, that rain chance is going to be elevated. U.S. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, we know we had that rain overnight. Watching out for the flood threat. Barbados staying active, and I'll keep an eye on that moisture in Barbados and St. Lucia that's sitting off to the east that may feed in, may get drawn in and give us a better chance of rain and storms. Trinidad and Tobago, as I was talking about, that rain chance is going to get higher for us. Same thing in Grenada as we get into the upcoming week. At least scattered showers and storms around, scattered to widespread showers and storms. St. Vincent the Grenadines early in the upcoming week. Guadeloupe staying stormy at times, but you may have a day where you're dry and then the next day you're just getting dumped on. That's the pattern. It's not one core of rain. It's just a lot of moisture nearby. Dominica, our rain chance stays elevated for sure. 60% chance. Martinique, 60% chance today, 50% chance tomorrow. Scattered showers and storms to widespread. Kind of right on the edge of it today. Antigua and Barbuda, most of it, at least this morning, has been just off to the west. St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat, again, on the edge of some of that heavier rain. We could get some flooding in parts of St. Kitts, so just heads up there. Anguilla and St. Bart's, rain chance staying on the higher side with the surge of moisture. 60% chance the next couple of days. St. Martin, Saba, Statia. If you get some rain, we'll get those quick downpours. Could get over 50 millimeters of rain to even 100 millimeters of rain. That could lead to some flooding. Jamaica, scattered showers and storms. Watching down to the south. Same thing as we work our way into the Cayman Islands. Watching to the south to see what tries to spin up, and I showed you those water temperatures and the heat content. That's why I'm watching that. Belize, 30% chance today. Isolated shower or storm as we get back toward Aruba and Curacao. At least there's been some more action around over toward Bonaire as well. Passing shower or storm possible. Keep me posted in the comments. Haiti, the rain chance is going to be picking up as we get into the upcoming week. Watching out for flooding. Same thing, the Dominican Republic, heads up, higher chance of flooding as we go over the next few days. Bermuda, what's left of Tammy, is off to the east. Still some gustier winds and some higher seas. Yucatan, Mexico, seeing an isolated shower or storm. The Bahamas, rain chance picking up. Watching that spin that may get thrown back into our direction as we get into early in the week. Turks and Caicos, same thing. By Monday, rain chance up to 60%, holding on to about a 30 to 40% chance across Cuba, kind of in between systems. Costa Rica, elevated chance of rain, same thing through Panama, and again, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala, seeing that high chance of rain. Even parts of Honduras, northern Venezuela, 40% chance of some rain. As we get back through Guyana, 40% chance, and about a 30% chance in Suriname. So again, several areas to watch. Of course, in the tropics, it's going to be busy as we get into November. So watching two areas in particular, that area near the Virgin Islands that may spin back toward the Bahamas, and again, that area south of Jamaica, plus, of course, the eastern Pacific. Now, that system that will impact parts of Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, that could even enhance some of the rain over toward Honduras and Nicaragua. So watching that. But either way, there's so much action out there. Strong storms, could even see some water spouts. Those would be tornadoes over water. We had a few. And watching out for the areas of flooding. 33 days left in the hurricane season. Please be safe. I'll monitor these spins all day long. If I see something spinning up, I'll get in with another video. Thank you for sharing this information and have a good rest of your day.